Y'all do it too. For 2 hours? Oh, for sure. Are you want some more salad burgers, nigga? And then the Shaw got high blood pressure. This would eat salad, you know what I'm saying?
And he's gonna go have a burger.
And they have a burger. They got lettuce on it, you know what I'm saying? That's a burger salad, you know what I'm saying? Got pickles and onions and tomatoes. That shit's healthy. Right? What? Yeah. I'm gonna take a pay drive. What? Pay drive? What are you worth? I'm here. Why are you here? Where's the fucking space? Crazy. You gotta go sit in your homework. Don't worry about science. Social studies. And English. You have any homework? Sure.
So we're on live now.
We'll be out there right now.
Come on. All right, Shalom, brothers and sisters in Canada. We're the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We're started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We're not affiliated with any Hebrew Israelite group. We're not affiliated with any other group. We are the group that the Most High has sent to break down the scriptures in their entirety. We're going to go into the book of Genesis. We're going to go into the book of Genesis. We're going to go into the very first account or record listed in the book of Genesis, which is the story of Adam and Eve. If you can hear in Canada, press 1. All right, press 1 if you can hear and see. All right, I'm Officer 1000 Abun, the campus school leader of Canada. To my left is the mighty and zealous Officer 5000. All right, out of headquarters, Karab. All right, he'll be a guest on the class. I greatly appreciate his help and tutelage. You understand, studying, being under this man right here in the scriptures, in the truth. All right. If I could, sir, we want to go into Adam and Eve today. We're going to start out the class with Adam and Eve. Right. Of course, and break it down the myth and the lie that they were the only 2 people on the planet Earth. Right. And they had sex, and then not even had sex. There was some spooky surgery that God, Most High performed. Right. He performed a surgery on Adam, took one of his ribs out, and grew a woman. Like a white man does with stem cells. Right. The Christian church thinks that the story of Adam and Eve was a story of stem cell research. Right. And fruits. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Right. And apples. They ate an apple and then they became evil. Right. Because if I eat apple pie, I'm doomed. I'm wicked. Right. I'm condemned to hell. Whereas nowhere in the scripture that talks about apples. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or any type of fruit that they bite it. You know what I'm saying? It's all allegory where we break this down, you know what I'm saying? Simile, where blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, they talking slang. A whole Bible is a slang book for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you know what I'm saying? No other nation could pick this book up and understand it but us. Right. Right. And this book is the scriptures, the book you call the Holy Bible. Right. All right. We're going to go into it. We're going to break down one of the biggest lies in the Christian church, and that is that Adam and Eve are the only 2 people on the planet Earth. Eve was literally formed from the body of Adam. Right. And that they ate an apple and turned evil. When in the dietary law, it doesn't say anything about apple. When you read the first chapter, the Lord said all herb-bearing herb-bearing flowers or meat, I get, it's like all herb-bearing seed I give to you for meat.
Right.
An apple is a herb-bearing seed. He
Right.
gave it to us to eat. So in the next chapter, you can't eat an apple?
Right,
Give me
right.
a goddamn break, man. You know what I mean? If I could, sir, I wanted to get that.
Right.
I want to get that in Genesis 1, where it says every herb-bearing seed shall be meat for you. All right, bear with me 1 second.
Yeah.
Bear with me 1 second. You know what verse that's in, sir? Is that verse? I got it. This is Genesis chapter 1 and 11. This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse 11. And the Most High said, let the earth bring forth grass,
Right.
the herb yielding seed.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the apple is a herb yielding seed?
Right.
Planted in the ground, sir, and it produces a tree with leaves.
Right.
All right? The herb yielding seed and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. So this is when the Lord made it. Herbs, grasses, and fruit trees.
Right.
Apple is a fruit tree. All right. Let's see what the Lord said to man, to woman, to beast, what they could do with these herbs and what they could do with these fruit trees.
Right.
This is Genesis 1 and 30. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every herb, green herb for meat. And it was so. Every green herb. So all those plants, those vegetables, those fruit trees that yield fruit,
right.
All that was for meat. That's what he said there in verse 30. The green herb was for meat. All those things made in Genesis chapter 1, verse 11, they were for you to eat.
Right.
So then how in the hell in the next chapter, the next 2 chapters, they ate apple and became wicked?
Right.
That's a damn lie, man. That's a damn lie. First, if I could, sir, you get Genesis 1 and 27.
1 and 27, no sweat.
Come on.
Let me know when you want to read it.
If you could read it now, sir.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image.
God created what?
Man in his own image.
God created man in his own image. This is
Right.
the creation of the humankind, the human species.
Right.
And every man that's walking around that you can't stand in a traffic jam, that lives in Japan, Tokyo, whatever, all of them were made in the image of the Most High.
Right.
What does that mean? Does that mean every person on the planet Earth looks like God? Hell no, that's not what that's talking about. That's talking about the image, his reputation.
Right.
The reputation that the Most High has, everyone on the planet Earth is able to fulfill, which
Right.
is what? Everyone on the earth has the ability to not eat pork.
Right.
Everyone on the earth has the ability to not be a whore,
Right.
to not be a pervert, not be a sexual deviant.
Right.
Many, all of the other races, they chose to not listen.
Right.
They chose to not be in the image of the Most High.
Right.
The other nations, the other races, they're not in the image of the Most High. They're Hindus. They're Christians. They're murderers. They're
Right.
thieves. They're thugs. They're gangsters and they're liars. Those are the other nations. But the Israelites, who are the seed of Adam,
Right.
who were given the same promises Adam was given, we're in the image of the Most High. We're doing what the Most High says, and we're set here in the earth to make sure that the Most High's reputation is established.
Right.
Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. That's the Lord's prayer. That's the Lord's prayer. But nonetheless, every man, woman, and child on earth is made in the image of the Most High. They all have the ability to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Israel is set up to make sure that gets done. All right, if I could, sir, read on.
So
Number 27.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him.
In the image of the Most High created he them. In the Most High's reputation. What's his reputation? The things he is known for. What is he known for? Being just, being righteous. What is his righteousness? His righteousness is written here in this book. In this book right here that so many Christians throw away and say that the law is done away with. This is the image of the Most High right here.
Right.
This is his reputation. He wrote it down in a book for the Israelites to go in and read and establish the planet Earth in this. Not in the Constitution of Canada, but in this. Not in the decrees of Justin Trudeau, okay, or the orange idiot Donald Trump, but in this. All right, read on.
Created he him, and man and male and female created he them.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 28. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply.
This is one of the first commands given to man and woman, to people on the planet Earth.
Right.
Is to be fruitful and multiply. Now, if you're going to abortion clinics, You're not fulfilling this law.
Right.
You're not being fruitful and multiplying.
Right.
You're destroying your fruit. You're cutting down an apple tree. Imagine there was a chestnut tree outside your house.
Right.
Your family needed that chestnut tree. All the hickory nuts and the chestnuts that fell off that tree, your family used to live on. But you go and take a goddamn steel chainsaw and cut the damn thing in half.
Right.
And throw the wood in the damn river to be molded. You understand? That's what Black and Latino, Native American, Indian women in Canada are doing when they go to the abortion clinics, man. Taking that tree and cutting their family tree down, literally. That family tree is getting cut off, man. Cutting off whole generations of sons and daughters. That's what's going on. All right.
And if I may, real quick, you know what I'm saying? And this even proves this is the first book of Genesis, and already the Most High already gave you a commandment. You know what I'm saying? He already gave you the law, the be fruitful and multiply. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't even be killing your kids, your sons, your daughters. You know what I'm saying? Of children of the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? If you have kids and you don't want them, bring them into the I.S.U.P.K, man. Right. So we can raise up priests and prophets of the Most High God and be fruitful and multiply like the Bible says. You know what I'm saying? Like this, it don't get no clear cut than that. You know what I'm saying? From the very beginning, the Most High God, the first book, you know what I'm saying? The first page, it tells you, you know what I'm saying? A law that the Most High God said be fruitful and multiply. Where we don't even want to be fruitful and multiply. We want to go in the strip clubs. We want to sell drugs. You know what I'm saying? We want to do all this wickedness, but to keep our people, our children alive, but love other people, love other nations. You know what I'm saying? But you go ahead.
So that was on point, man. The Bible says, the scriptures say, be fruitful and multiply. Right. Remember, when you had that child in your stomach, that's fruit. Right. Don't cut that fruit off. Man. Right. Don't cut that fruit down.
Right. Verse 28. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth.
Right. Replenish the earth. Fill, meaning what? Fill the earth. All right. Fill the earth up with men and women. Read on.
And subdue it.
And subdue it. The earth was made to be populated, man. The white man saying the earth is going to go extinct. Right. In the year 2080, there's going to be no more human life. Right. There's a TV show on one of those science channels. I don't know if you saw it, sir. It said Life Without Man or Life Without People. Right. I see it. Said by 2115, Los Angeles would fall apart. Right. Be covered in brush. That's a damn lie, man. The Bible says to replenish the earth, fill it, and subdue it. The earth was made to be inhabited, man. Right. The scripture says the earth abideth forever. Right. There's never going to be an end of people. That's in Ecclesiastes. Right. There is no end to people. Right. There is no end to the earth. The earth is not going to be uninhabited ever. The earth was made to be filled and subdued. Right. All right.
Wait 1 second. If I may, you know what I'm saying? What's also so wicked about the white man? This verse is talking about, you know what I'm saying? So you being fruitful and multiply to subdue it. So, you know, so it could be people in the earth. But, you know, the white man is so goddamn a devil. He says, and you know what I'm saying, he gives you predictions what's going to happen if there was no people, you know what I'm saying? If there was no civilization to cover the earth or to take care of it when there's supposed to be somebody to always take care of the earth, and that's you blacks. That's always blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You know what I'm saying? And from the very beginning, this is only talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, so-called. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be subduing the earth. You supposed to be taking care of the earth to make sure it's replenished, man. You supposed to make sure that there's enough women and children and men that the next generation, when our kingdom comes, there's many. You know what I'm saying? There's many in children and boys and girls to subdue it after we're gone. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Obama.
Sir. Is that it on verse 28?
No, there's more. And subdue it, and have the dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
Right. We have dominion over, meaning humans choose what live or dies based on the dietary law. Based on dietary law, you know what to eat, what not to eat. How do you eat something? You have to kill it. That's the dominion that we have over the animals. We choose which animals live and which animals die in the water, of birds, and of things that walk, crawl, and run on the earth. Based on Leviticus, the 11th chapter, man. You Christians, you don't have dominion over animals because you kill whatever satisfies your stomach. You Muslims, you don't have dominion over the sea. You definitely don't have dominion over the sea. Because Allah or Muhammad said everything in the oceans you can eat. You Christians, you Muslims, you don't have dominion over the sea and over the air. But here, the I.S.U.P.K, we have dominion over the creatures. We have dominion. We choose to eat the chicken and not the pork. We choose to eat the trout or salmon and not the tuna. Understand? We choose to eat the sea bass, the codfish, and not the mussels and the goddamn sea urchins and the barnacles. Christians eating goddamn barnacles, talking about they're saved in Jesus. You don't even have dominion over the creatures. Talking about you're saved. Read on. Is that in verse 28? Come, sir. If I could, can you skip down to verse 31?
31, that's what.
Come.
Verse 31. And God saw everything that He made, that He had made, and behold, it was good.
Behold, it was good. Everything He made was good. So when He's going to make it defective, so then people are made. People are good. They're functional. They have a purpose. Trees serve their purpose. The pigs, the sea urchins, the cows, the not pterodactyls, the eagles, the hawks, the bats. They serve their purpose. The roaches, the rats, mice, they all serve their purpose. So He's going to make them extinct. He's going to put them away. No, the white man has made whole ecosystems extinct because he's the devil. Because when he is in charge, the earth is turned into a damn wilderness, man. And that's what happened to it. If you could, sir, read on.
And in the evening and in the morning were the 6th day.
Evening and the morning were the 6th day. Man and woman, humans, they were produced on the 6th day. Now, I got a question for you Christians. When was Adam made? When was Adam made? He was made on the 7th day, man. He was made on the 7th day, and a day unto the Lord is as 1,000 years. The first day was just a dispensation of time. It was a period of time. Second day was the next period of time. Third day was the next period of time. See, the first day when the universe was made. Big Bang, as they call it. He stretches out the heavens as a vault. That's in the book of Isaiah. He took a small point in space and he stretched it. He had the angels stretch it out like it was a curtain, like it was a sheet. They expanded it. All right, that's when He said, "Let there be light," which is what the white man calls the Big Bang. That's how the Big Bang occurred. They say that there was a small point called singularity, and from that point, it blew up and it stretched out, like a spark or an explosion.
And you know what's so heavy about that is, like when you really get into science, you know what I'm saying? When you get in, you start realizing that, like, everything has a Christianity in it. You know what I'm saying? Science has like a Christianity side and it has the truth side. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the Christianity side of science, you realize they try to stop you from learning the actual truth of what science is. You know what I'm saying? And what science really is about, when you look into what these actual truth seekers of scientists is about, they come to the realization that the Bible is true. You know what I'm saying? They realize, like, they don't know what the goddamn a black hole or a dark matter is. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. They can't fathom what that is, and they end up going back to the Bible. You know what I'm saying? They want to know what the Big Bang is. You know what I'm saying? They can't fathom what the Big Bang is, but they all come to the agreement. It had to come from somewhere. There had to be a beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like Genesis, there had to be a beginning to the Big Bang to start everything. You know what I'm saying? And that's from the Most High God, man.
Concert, if I could, if you could take me to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 4. We go to Genesis 2 and 4. Shalom, Akim, Akwathiana in Canada. We're going into the story of Adam and Eve. They're going to go into an article that came out from the Canada Broadcasting Company saying that it's an article about Canada asking what in the hell would happen if America lost the big war. Well, America is about to lose a big war, and Canada knows it. And we're going to prove it in the Bible that they would say this, that they would be worried if America lost the war. And they're going to cry when America's burned the hell up to bits, man. And it should get burned up. And it's going to, according to the scriptures. Right now, we're going into Adam and Eve. All right, have any questions, type them in. You can hear and see, press 1. going into the story of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were not the first two people on the planet Earth. There was not a mystical, spooky stem cell, you understand, petri dish growth of a woman.
Right.
That's another thing too, if I could, sir.
Right.
The Christians, it's like the Christians are talking about how, especially us, we hate women.
Right.
Right? And Christianity is all for the woman, Mother Mary. They said the woman came out of a damn man in some crazy, you know what I mean,
right.
surgery.
Some surgery.
But they love
right.
women.
Right, like the Most High God put Adam on a surgeon table,
Right.
close your eyes, and just take out take out a rib, you know what I'm saying, and made one bone
Right,
from a rib and made a whole goddamn woman,
Right.
man. That is Christianity to his bone, man. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't even sound right. The Most High God is not spooky.
And if I could, it makes a woman sound like Frankenstein.
Right.
It's alive!
Exactly.
And he was in a stencil.
Right.
It is a woman. He don't have a goddamn rib.
Right.
You're taking a beef short rib, holding it up like this is a woman.
Right.
Let's grow this and make a woman. Like in Christianity, women are like aliens. And that's why they say sex with a woman is dirty, but with little boys, it's pleasurable. And that's why the Catholics believe that, man. You can't have sex with a woman. They think women are goddamn aliens.
Right.
Because they were growing it from a godly surgical procedure in stem cells.
Right.
That's not how a woman was formed, man. A woman was formed like a man was formed. And the sixth day by the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Genesis 2 and 4.
2
right?
and 4, sir.
All right, no sweat. Genesis chapter 2, verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
These are the generations of the heavens and the earth.
Right. These are the generations of the heaven and the earth. Not Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. That, if I could, that's what the Ottawa was bringing out earlier, how in science there's a Christianity side,
Right.
and there's the truth side of science. In the Bible, there's science that's falsely so-called.
Right.
Remember that, sir, if I could, in Timothy? That's Charles Darwin's theory of evolution is science falsely so-called.
Right.
A fish didn't get out of the ocean and start to squirm its way and grow
Right,
legs
right.
millions of goddamn years and turn into an ape and then turn into a damn person, man. That
Right.
never happened. This is the generations of the heaven and the earth. You want to know the order of creation? Go into Genesis, the first chapter, man. It's one chapter. And the white man's writing PhD theses and whole textbooks this goddamn thick about it.
Right.
But it's in one chapter in the Bible. All right. This is the generations of the heaven and the earth. Read on, sir.
When they were created, in the day that the Most High God made the earth and the heavens.
Right.
Verse 5. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew.
Right. Every herb in the field before it grew. Remember, the seeds were planted in the earth.
Right.
And then there was a dew that came up upon the earth to make those seeds sprout. That's what that's talking about. All right. Read on, sir.
Come on. For the Most High God had not caused it to rain upon the earth.
The Lord had not caused it to rain upon the earth. There was a dew that came up from the ground. Like even to this day, you can liken it to this day when you go outside. If you ever gone outside early in the morning, you see a nice fine dew on the ground. That's what happened in the creation of herbs. The seeds were already in the ground. The ground was watered. From water, I believe the water came up from the earth. That's in Genesis, the first chapter. It came up from the earth like a dew to make the plants and the trees sprout. All right.
So, like one quick question, and the article was about what you said about if America, Canada. Go ahead.
Kind of on one concert, if I could. The article we're going to go into is about if America lost the next big war, the security concerns it would pose for Canada.
Right, and you know what's so crazy about that? Canada's worrying about if America lost the big war. There's a war going on right now in Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. Not only that, there's a war going on the planet Earth. Right. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures talk about a dew over in the land. You know what I'm saying? The so-called white man, the devil, is destroying this earth. You know what I'm saying? With all his pollutions and oil in the oceans and all this stuff in the soil, the air. You know what I'm saying? He's destroying the order of how the earth works. You know what I'm saying? And right here in Genesis, it's showing you how the proper order from the Most High God, how it started. You know what I'm saying? And the white man is a goddamn devil. He's willing to destroy the earth before he gives the earth to you, black man,
right?
Hispanic man, Native Indian. You know what I'm saying? He rather throw a slack. He rather throw a a whole barrel of oil, you know what I'm saying, in the earth before he gives it to you. He rather blows up California before he gives the earth to you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian, you know what I'm saying? The white man is the devil, you know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous on how they have an article worrying about America losing to a war when America's been at war for years. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nothing new. America is still at war. He's been in goddamn Afghanistan and Iraq since what, the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Trying to take over all their resources and all these other things that they have. You know what I'm saying? To disrupt the order of the earth that we're in right now. Right. Well, you go ahead.
That's totally it.
Right.
And America has been at war 93% of its existence. They've only been in peace for about
right.
20 years, 14 years, something like that. If you could, sir, read on. Verse 5 we were at, I think.
Right. Was not the rain upon the earth, and it was not a man to till the ground.
Right.
Verse 6. But there
that was it on that.
That's in verse 5.
If you could skip down to Genesis 4 and 14. Right. It was not a man to till the earth, to take care of the earth. The Lord raised up Adam to take care, to subdue the earth. Remember in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 31, it said that the creature, man, was given dominion over the creatures. But you have to understand this. The whole earth wasn't given, everyone on the earth wasn't given dominion over the creatures.
Right.
Everyone on the earth was not set up to rule and till the ground and name the creatures and have dominion over them. But Adam was. Right.
And you know, so heavy about that. Adam was able to rule over the earth and to have dominion over it because he was given the laws. He was given the power by the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? The other nations was just going about doing whatever they can. You know what I'm saying? Looking at a rock and saying, this is the greatest thing ever. Or they're looking into the sky, into astronomy, right? Astrology, Salagi. And look into the sky to astrology, thinking that the stars will tell them their paths. You know what I'm saying? But Adam got received the word, got the guidance from the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? The laws, the statutes, and commandments, and the knowledge to take care of the world, the earth. To till the earth, to give the animals their names, you know what I'm saying? And that goes back to being a blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian, man. This is for you, man, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian. You know, this is your lineage. You come from Adam. Your lineage come from Adam. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Come on, sir. You could take me to Genesis chapter 4 and verse 14.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 14. All right. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth.
Take me to Genesis chapter 2. So I guess I don't want to get to there yet. Take me to Genesis chapter 2, and verse. Give me 1 second. Take me to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And the Most High God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
The Most High took man, from the dust of the ground. He took him from the ground, from the bottom, from the gutter. You ever heard Negroes, Latinos, and American Indians say that?
Right.
And I raised you from the gutter. I raised you up from the bottom. I took you up from nothing. Even the mafia, the so-called white man's mafia, they say that.
Right.
I raised you from the gutter. That's what the Most High did with Adam. The Most High took Adam and raised him up from a low state. And we're doing that today, raising up our people out of a low state in the spirit of the Most High.
Right.
We're not Christians, man. Christians, they're in the dust of the earth.
Right.
Like Adam was. They're in a low state. They're in the gutter, eating everything that runs around, eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster, thinking that every nation on the earth can be saved. The Most High took Adam from that, belief, took Adam from a low state, from acting like an animal. You understand? And he breathed the breath of life into his nostrils.
Right.
You know the priest that I want, sir, that's in Ezekiel, Ezekiel 37. And it's Ezekiel 37 and 10.
You want me to get that?
Come on. Ezekiel 37 and 10. You know what I'm saying? Like these other religions put people in the dust of the ground, man. Christianity, Islam, they've kept the earth, everyone on the earth, in the dust. The Lord took Adam out of that nonsense, out of the world, and breathed the breath of life into his nostrils, made him a living soul, gave him the truth. And we're going to prove that. When the Most High breathed the breath of life into Adam, he didn't go into a goddamn, Toys R Us toy.
Right.
I don't know what Christians think. God picked him up with his hand and went,
right,
blew into it.
And that just shows you how destroyed we are. You know what I'm saying? That you could possibly think that the Most High God just literally took a hand. You know what I'm saying? The scripture said that the earth is the Most High God's footstool.
Right.
So how do you think he's gonna take his hand and dig up in the earth? You know what I'm saying? And blow into a man. You know what I'm saying?
And blow into a damn man. Blow into a man. Type in all questions. Drinking wine, beer, and alcohol is not bad. There's no scripture in the Bible nor in the Old Testament that says you cannot drink wine.
Right.
There is a scripture that says you cannot eat shrimp, but Muslims do eat shrimp.
Right.
And mussels and sea urchins. Okay, and clams. But you can't eat that according to the scriptures. All right, but wine, beer, and alcohol, everything in moderation is fine. It's lawful. The priests were allowed to drink it.
Right.
All right, that's in Deuteronomy, the 14th chapter. That's it on that. The breath of life was the truth. And we're going to prove it. Read.
Ezekiel 37, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them.
And the what?
And the breath came into them.
What did Ezekiel do to bring the breath into them? So I prophesied.
So I prophesied as he commanded me.
Ezekiel prophesied as he was commanded. This is Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. This is the chapter about the valley of the dry bones.
Right.
The valley of the dry bones is talking about the conditions of the Israelites. It's talking about the state that they were in.
Right.
It likens them to a valley of dry bones, meaning what? They were just a sea of dead bodies, a sea of people with no life. We live our lives in the culture of the French and in the culture of the Arabs and the stinking Arab religion,
right,
and the stinking Christian religion, and the Frenchmen, and in Thanksgiving and in Christmas. That's where we live. That's where we are, and that's no life, man. That's no life. Like we were given this record. So-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians were given this record. But in Ezekiel's time, at the time of the Valley of the Dry Bones, we left that record and we were like dead bodies.
Right.
You see, the scriptures is what gives you life. You may be walking around, you may go to the store, you may clock into work, but you're not really living, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, unless you have this book. This book and the Spirit of the Most High is what gives you life.
Right.
Doing what the Most High does is what gives you life. The Most High wouldn't walk into a goddamn Muslim mosque and bang his head on a carpet.
Right.
The Most High wouldn't speak in the culture of the Arabs. He speaks in the tongue of angels.
Right.
Lashwan Kodash, the holy tongue, the ancient Hebrew. Okay, the Most High wouldn't go into a Christian church. The Most High would not have sex with whores. All right, he told us not to do those things. We're supposed to do the things he does. That gives us the breath of life. The breath of life that Adam was given in Genesis, in the book of Genesis, the second chapter,
yeah,
that breath of life was the laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
Ezekiel prophesied, and he prophesied about the Most High. He talked about things that would happen.
Right.
And it gave the people life. And this is the precept of the breath of life. It was the laws, statutes, and commandments. It was the words of the Most High. The Most High gave Adam the education about the scriptures, which Christians don't have,
right,
which Muslims do not have, which the Jewish man does not have. All right, no one has, but here in the I.S.U.P.K. we have.
Damn
All
right.
If you could finish verse 10.
Come. And the breath came unto them, and they lived and stood up upon their feet.
They lived and they stood up upon their feet. Read on.
An exceeding great
And
army.
they stood up upon their feet, and they were an exceeding great army. The breath of life was breathed unto them. The Ezekiel prophesied unto them, spoke to them the words of the Most High, and they lived.
Right.
And they lived. This too is an allegory.
Mhm.
This too is a metaphor. It's talking about the condition of the state of our people.
Right.
The condition of the state of our people. And Adam was in a similar state thousands of years ago.
Right.
Adam was in a similar state, and the Most High brought him out of it the same way he sent Ezekiel to bring the Israelites out of it. Right.
It's a lot. And you know, it's so crazy. It is the state that we are in, still in today.
Right.
What the ISUPK is doing right now, trying to give you the breath of life. These laws, statutes, and commandments, man, where you need to come back to, like, you know what I'm saying? This, like, if we came together as a nation, you know what I'm saying? And followed these laws, statutes, and commandments and got the breath of life like Adam did in the beginning, the scripture said we will be an exceeding army, man. You know what I'm saying? When you are an army, you are all in one accord. You know what I'm saying? You're in one accord. You saying Khan on one, Khan. You know what I'm saying? You going out there raising prophets. You raising brothers up to be prophets, take over cities. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing to be an army of the Most High God in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Khan on one Khan. Let me get on verse 8, sir.
Verse 8, Ezekiel 37 and 8.
So let me get on Genesis 2 and 8. The breath of life was the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. We're going to get into more about the story of Adam and Eve.
Right.
All right. That Christians have no ideas about. Let's get Genesis chapter 2, verse 8.
Right. Genesis chapter 2, verse 8. And the Most High God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed.
There he put the man whom he had formed.
Right.
The Lord formed him. This creation wasn't physical. He already made man. He already made woman on the 6th day.
Right.
This creation was spiritual. He changed Adam's behavior.
Right.
He changed the way he acted, the way he thought, and he conformed him to his way, to what he does. What does he do? The laws, statutes, and commandments written in this book, Adam had. And Adam was given that so he could have dominion over the creatures. Like we said before, like Christians don't have dominion over the creatures eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster.
Right.
Having sex with whores and prostitutes. You don't have dominion over anything. You don't have dominion over your own body.
Right.
You understand? But Adam was given that dominion. He needed that. He was given that dominion. He had that dominion because he was able to control his flesh. He knew what he would not eat. He had the knowledge that the Most High given him. All right. So if you could take it to verse. Can you finish that verse, sir?
That was end of verse 8. Verse 9.
Kind of read verse 9.
And out of the ground made the Most High God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Okay, what are these trees, man? What are these trees? Did he plant some fruit trees? Was there some hickory, chestnut, apple trees?
A pear tree, you know what I'm saying?
Orange tree, apple trees, what have you? What was this? Banana trees?
Right.
These trees were doctrines.
Right.
The tree that he planted that was good for food, that was the laws, statutes, and commandments. That was his doctrine, his teachings. The Lord was communicating to Adam. And when he was communicating to Adam, Adam could eat.
Right.
Adam could absorb that information. Right? Like the teacher tells you, the teacher says when his or her students aren't getting the information, they say, what? You all aren't absorbing the information.
Right.
Since you all aren't absorbing the information, we'll have another lesson tomorrow.
Right.
You all aren't taking this information in. You're not taking in what I'm telling you. You've ever heard someone say that to you? You're not literally eating it and consuming it for calories. You're not eating it and eating it to grow and be healthy, but you are taking it in.
Right.
All right. And there were certain things that Adam and Eve could take in. There was certain information they could absorb, and there was certain information they could not absorb.
Right.
You could take me to Ezekiel 31 and 3 about the trees. There was a tree that we could have, but then there was a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. All right. We're going to sum it up here. I'm going to sum it up before we get the scripture. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil was the knowledge of good and evil. It's as plain as that. The good was keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, knowing the trees that were good for food, knowing what was good to take in, information that was good to learn, behaviors that were conducive to staying in Eden, behaviors that were pleasing to the Most High, and we knew evil. We knew the punishments.
Right.
That's what the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was. It was the knowledge of the benefits of serving the Most High, and the knowledge of the drawbacks of disobeying.
Right.
Like you were never supposed to know what it was like to get high that first time.
Right.
You never know what it was supposed to like to trip out, to have a bad high, have a bad trip,
right,
to nearly OD and not die, to get shot. That's the knowledge of good and evil. You know what it's like when you're on the Most High's bad side. You know what it's like when you're doing things. What do people in the world say? Doing things you shouldn't be doing.
right.
We're never supposed to know what it was like to do things we shouldn't be doing.
And the crazy part about it, we know too well about good evil right now. You know what I'm saying? And not enough of good. You know what I'm saying? We too busy worrying about all this evil stuff, all this twerking, and you know what I'm saying, selling drugs to make a living, or prostituting, or going out to parties, or eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, and not obeying, or not following what's good. You know what I'm saying? In the word, or in the word. You know what I'm saying? We too busy worrying about the evil that was going on. But go ahead, Abba.
If you could read Ezekiel 31:3.
Right. God. Ezekiel chapter 31 and 3. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches, and with a shadow shorn, and of a high stature.
Wait a minute. The Assyrian was a tree.
Right.
So I guess the Assyrian Empire was a giant oak tree in the Middle East, right?
Right.
Hell no, that's not what it's talking about. He says the Assyrian was a what? Read it again.
Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon.
It was a cedar in Lebanon. A cedar is a very tall, very sturdy tree.
Right.
This is another allegory. It's another metaphor. It's talking about a tree, but the story is not about a tree. The story or the metaphor is likening a tall, very strong tree to an empire. Meaning what? The Assyrian Empire was a very tall tree. It was a shadowing shroud. It had a nice shadow. Meaning what? You could get under it for protection.
Right.
You could get under it for comfort. You could go to Assyria and get a nice college degree.
Right.
Have a $60K job. You know what I mean? Shave your beard and join the Black Boulette and become a millionaire.
Right.
Or you could join the Masons in Assyria and get a nice job and become Kanye West and become many of these famous celebrities. You could celebrate Christmas and be accepted.
Right.
And be covered and be protected and be a good Assyrian citizen.
Right.
And be in the Assyrian spirit.
Right. You be a good Syrian spirit, but you're not doing what the Most High God told you to do. It's till the field. You know what I'm saying? Be what the Most High God told you to be. You know what I'm saying? And keep your laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? And follow what the Most High God told you to do. Keep going.
Kind of one sir. If you could continue to read.
And with fair branches, and with a shadowing shrub, and of a high stature.
Kind of a what?
And a high stature.
This Assyrian, it was of a high stature. This was a very great empire. All right, read on.
And its top was among the thick barrels. Verse 4, the waters made him great, and deep set him up on a high, with rivers running around about his plants, and set out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field. Verse 5, therefore his height was excelled above all the trees of the field.
His height was excelled above all the trees of the field. The trees of the field here, they were talking about other nations,
right?
Other peoples, other customs. The Assyrian way, the Assyrian Empire, the Assyrian customs were above all other customs. Like Christmas reigns on the earth. Christmas reigns. I don't hear about a Ramadan, celebration. I don't hear about a Ramadan football game, but I do hear about a Christmas game.
Right.
I hear about a Thanksgiving football game. Like the Assyrian Empire, the tree in Assyria, you can liken it to America today.
Right.
It's a tall tree. It's above all other trees. All other trees look up to are not as tall as America. Their cultures are not as influential as America. And the tree of the knowledge of good and evil were the cultures of the other nations. The trees that were good for food were the things that the Most High was teaching Adam.
Right.
All right. If you could read the part where it's talking about the river again.
Verse 4, and the waters made him great. The deep set him up on high, with her rivers running around about his plants, and sent out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field.
Right, a deep river is going unto it. America gets all the help, like Syria does. Canada gets all the grants, all the funding. all of the money while you can't pay your rent in Toronto.
Right.
Toronto rent is through the roof like New York.
Right.
They're trying to push you into Lake Ontario. Like they're trying to push Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians into the damn Hudson River and Rikers Island.
Right.
You understand? Pricing us out, and Native Indian kids over in Vancouver, British Columbia, having their rent stolen from them by the social worker.
Right.
By the social worker. You understand? Meanwhile, they're getting fed by the Queen of England. The Queen of England owns the land in Canada. The Queen of England owns the land in the UK. Like they're getting fed. The Queen of England is well fed. Justin Trudeau is well fed. But the other countries, the smaller countries, the little people, like what are some of those people? Mongolia,
right?
And Vietnam, Cambodia, countries in Africa, smaller countries in Eastern Europe, they get fed a little bit. That's why it says the little rivers go to the other trees. Like they get a little bit of aid from America.
Right.
You do well in America. You're a good slave, a good Christian. You become Ben Carson.
Right. You get some help.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You'll get a nice job. You know what I mean? Join a fraternity. You'll have a few friends that'll recommend you for a job.
Right.
You probably won't get the job. They'll recommend you for it. You have a few buddies, some people you can crash with. If you're under the Assyrian tree, if you're getting fed by her rivers. Read on, sir.
Verse 5, therefore his height was excelled above all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches become long because of the multitude of waters when he shoot forth. Verse 6, all the fowls of heaven made their nests in his burrows, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow dwell all great nations. Keep going.
Was that on verse 8?
That's verse. That was in verse 6.
And then the verse 6. All great nations sit underneath her.
Right.
Sit underneath her and get shadow and get protection. That's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It was the other cultures, similar to the way the Assyrian tree was large. It was shadowing. That's which is a culture of cultures of the other nations, and we were not to take part in the cultures of the other nations. We were not to get down with them on any level. We weren't to serve their God. That's in Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter. Adam and Eve, they went off and they went to go and serve the other gods, the other people. They wanted to go and get high like white people did.
Right.
To know what it was like. They want to know what it was like to have a threesome. They want to know what it was like to go against the Most High, to be evil and to be deserving of the punishment, which is that evil, the punishments that the Most High was going to give them.
Right. Well, when the Most High didn't even want you to know this knowledge, that was the reason why you wasn't even supposed to acknowledge the fruit of good and evil. You know what I'm saying? You was supposed to be good and stay and do your job. You know what I'm saying? Stay on the other side and just learn of the Most High. You wasn't supposed to learn of the consequences that's supposed to happen to you when you don't listen. That's what our Father was trying to indicate to us. You know what I'm saying? But we as a stubborn nation, you know what I'm saying? We had to dwell in finding out what the evil is. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, we're here right now to get back to the tree of good. You know what I'm saying? The fruit of good. To get this kingdom back as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians and rule over the other nations like we supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like tilling the field like Adam was doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. What else you want me to
keep reading?
Verse 7. Thus was he fair in his greatness and length of his branches, for his root was by great waters. Verse 8.
His root was by great waters. America, Canada, they get all the economic help.
Right.
They get all the economic help. Because of it, their culture grows strong. Their culture has great influence on you, and it's the knowledge of good and evil. Like the knowledge of Canadian culture, keeping to Canadian culture is the knowledge of good and evil. Like Canada is promoting marijuana usage recreationally. But Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, they're beginning to know when they go crazy out of their goddamn mind.
Right.
All right. They know when they're going crazy out of their damn mind. They know then that doing that, smoking weed, getting high is evil. And a godly man diggeth up evil. That's in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 27. And our people are beginning to understand that. Are beginning to understand the knowledge of good and evil when they become insane, when they're full of AIDS. and chlamydia and these sexually transmitted diseases. That's the knowledge of good and evil, man. When you don't adhere to the laws, statutes, and commandments, you know the bad side of the Most High, which we weren't supposed to do. All right? Keep reading.
Verse 8. And the cedars in the garden of the power could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches. Nor any tree in the garden of the garden of the power was like unto him in his beauty.
Nor any trees of the what?
The garden of power was like unto his beauty.
Nor any trees in the garden of God and the garden of the Most High like unto him in his beauty.
Right.
This tree, this culture was in the Garden of Eden.
Right.
What verse is that?
This is Ezekiel chapter 31, verse 8.
This is Ezekiel chapter 31 and verse 8. Boom.
Right.
A body bag to the Catholic and Christian church. Man.
Right.
The trees in the Garden of Eden were other nations.
And every Christian too. You know what I'm saying? Every pastor that's teaching that a woman grabbed the fruit off the tree and bit it, and just all of a sudden woke up to every knowledge of you know what I'm saying, in existence. Right? That's impossible. You know what I'm saying? I have fruits, you know what I'm saying, all the time. And I don't wake up to fucking to knowing every math equation. You know what I'm saying? That's preposterous. You know what I'm saying? So that's ridiculous. That's how crazy it is. I don't wake up knowing every equation by biting into a fruit. You know what I'm saying? That's ridiculous, man. But keep going.
Read on.
Verse 9. I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of God.
We're in the Garden of God. This is in the Garden of Eden. Other cultures, other nations' doctrines were in the Garden of Eden. That's what Adam and Eve fell up under. Adam and Eve fell up under the cultures of the other nations of the other people. All right, and this is the precept. Take me back to Genesis 2 and where were we? 2 and 8. 2 and 8. 2 and 8. Yeah, something like that.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 8.
Go ahead.
And the Lord our God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and then he put the man who he had formed, and out of the ground made the Lord our God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight.
It's good to look at. It's good to see. It's good to behold. It's good to behold brothers that aren't robbing and killing each other. It's good to behold not selling drugs. It's good to see. That's a beautiful sight. And these are the knowledge. This is the knowledge, the teachings of the Most High. These were the trees. The trees was the information that Adam was given to take in. All right. The tree of knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil, were the other nations' cultures that were round about the garden. All right. Read on.
And the good for food, and the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
The tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is what we just broke down.
Right. Verse 10. And the river went out of Eden to the water the garden, and from thence was departed and become unto the 4 heads. Verse 11. The name of the first is Pison, that is which comparison the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold.
Right. These are the 4 rivers. We're going to break down the 4 rivers, where they are, so you can get an understanding where the Garden of Eden is. The Garden of Eden was the land that Adam was promised, and the people that come from Adam, whom thou hast chosen, according to 2 Ezra 6 and 54 to 55, are the Israelites. And so this land that you're going to read about right here is the land that the Israelites will inherit after World War III, when Christ returns. All right. The first is Pison, which essentially means an overflowing in Hebrew. All right. It's a river. All right. That which compasseth the whole land of Havilah. This is the Gulf of Aden. You look at Somalia, right? Somalia is called, I think it's called the Horn of Africa, right? It's called the Horn of Africa because it sticks out of Africa's side, if you will, like a cone, or like a horn, right? So you have Somalia that makes its point right here. On the right, a little bit eastward of Somalia, you have Saudi Arabia.
Right.
In that straight area between the 2 lands, that's a river.
Right.
That's a river. The so-called white man calls it a gulf, but it's a body of waters between 2 land masses, and it's funneling out into what? A larger body of water.
Right.
Like a river funnels out into an ocean. The Gulf of Aden is that river that funnels out into an ocean, a small body of water that funnels out into a larger body of water. The first river is the Gulf of Aden today. It compasses the whole land of Havilah. Havilah here is talking about Saudi Arabia. All right, we don't.
Verse 12, and the gold of that land is good.
The gold of that land is good. At one time, there was gold in that region of Saudi Arabia. To this day, there still may be. All right, in that region, around that region, today known as Saudi Arabia. Right.
What's that? There is
there is the bdellium
right.
and onyx stone.
The bdellium and the onyx stone.
The bdellium and onyx stone. There were gems, precious gems and gemstones found in Saudi Arabia, in that region where the Gulf of Aden is. All right, read on.
Verse 13, and the name of the second river is YAHANNA, right?
Right.
And the same is it that compassed the whole land of Ethiopia.
Right, the Gihon. The Gihon is
right.
Today what's known as the Red Sea. The Red Sea is what compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. It comes down, comes across, over, compasses. Compass means to go around.
Right.
All right. Compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. All right. Compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. That's the Red Sea, man. That's the Red Sea. So you have, again, the Red Sea, which is, again, another body of water
right.
that flows into a bigger body of water that flows into a larger body of water. A river. All right. And you have the Gulf of Aden. You have the Red Sea. You have the Gulf of Aden. Those are the first two rivers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, read on.
Verse 14. And the name of the third river is, what was it? How you pronounce that?
Hiddekel.
Hiddekel. That is it which groweth towards the east of Syria.
This is the Tigris River. It's called the Tigris River today.
Right.
So you have the Red Sea. You have the Gulf of Aden. You have the Tigris River. Read on.
And fourth river is Euphrates.
Euphrates. It's called the Euphrates River today. So those are the four rivers. So that land that's encompassed by those four rivers stretches from around the area of Pakistan.
Right.
Around the area of Pakistan and Afghanistan, about as far north as Turkey and all the way around Saudi Arabia. That whole land, what's called today the Middle East, belongs to Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And it's not for the so-called white man. It's not for the Arab. It's not for the Chinese. It's not for the Japanese. It's not for the African. All right. It's not for the Portuguese. It's for so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians in Canada and scattered throughout the world. That's who it's for, man. That's who it's for. And that's the four rivers. That's the land Adam was promised, and the people that are supposed to be carrying on in the footsteps of Adam, having the truth, which are the Israelites.
Right.
All right. Continue.
Verse 15. And the Most High God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Verse 16. And the Lord thy God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat.
Right. Of every tree in the garden thou mayest freely eat. You can take in this information. This information in this garden is good.
Right.
It's good to take in. It's good to absorb. Read on.
Verse 17. But the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it.
You shall not eat of it. Again, it's what we were saying the entire class, drilling it the entire class. We were supposed to know what it was like to have a bad acid trip.
Right.
We were supposed to know what it was like to be filled with crabs, to have crabs crawling around your box, to have crabs crawling around your private area, man, and itching you like crazy, to have that burn.
Right.
We weren't supposed to know what that is, man. We weren't supposed to know that. We were supposed to know what it's like to be on the Most High's good side. Be on his good side, like any son. You do what your father tells you. You're on your father's good side.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't have to go off Rick. He doesn't have to yell at you.
Right.
He doesn't have to make you go to your room. He doesn't have to take things from you.
Right.
But if you take from the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, you know what it's like to be on his bad side. You go against him. You're going to know his bad side. You're going to get on his bad side. All right. You get on the Most High's bad side by disobeying him, not following the laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
All right. Read on.
When the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Verse 18. And the Lord thy God said, it is not good that the man shall be alone. I will make him a helpmeet.
I will do what?
I will make him a helpmeet.
It's not good that the man is alone. Adam was alone by himself. Adam did not have a woman at this time.
Right.
There were men and women walking around the planet Earth. Read on.
Verse 19. And out of the ground, the Most High God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. Whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. Verse 20. And Adam gave name to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him. And the Lord and the Most High God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam.
The Most High God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. Adam was given a woman.
Right.
That was his woman he was with. And what he was doing was he was giving to this woman the breath of life.
Right.
He was giving to this woman the information that he was taught, which was what? You shall eat of the trees in the garden. You will take in the information that's here, but you're not to fall under the cultures of the other nations.
Right.
You're not to get on my bad side by joining unto their gods, which are nothing. Christmas is nothing. Thanksgiving and Ramadan is nothing.
Right.
We weren't supposed to get into those things, but because we did, we're going to see what happened. Read on.
And he slept, and he took one of his ribs.
He slept. He slept. He wasn't aware of what he was doing. Like the Bible was written by blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, man.
Right.
Hold on 1 second, sir. The Bible was written by blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, and that's what we talk. That's how we call it. Like that's my blood, man.
Right.
And you called me. I caught you slipping. You were slipping. You better not be sleep out here, boy.
Right. Exactly.
Your mom's not saying you better not be sleepwalking.
Right.
Down Broad Street.
And that just shows you that this book is for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and that no other nation can understand the scriptures. Even when you go into the Hebrew, it sounds like a book for black people. You know what I'm saying? This book is not meant for other nations. This book is only meant for you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian. You know what I'm saying? To come back to your Lord's statutes and commandments.
Keep reading, sir. It's like read that last part again. Deep sleep.
That was verse. Verse 20. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead of thereof. Verse 22. And the rib which the Most High God had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, this is now the bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh.
This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. The Most High took a rib of Adam, right?
Right.
Took a rib of Adam. What does that mean? Did he lay him flat on the table?
Right.
Lay Adam flat on the table. Beep, beep, stethoscope.
Right.
We're losing them.
Right.
What are those things called that you you use to shock people with? A shard. What are these things called when you rub them together and you shock someone to bring, the
defibrillator.
Defibrillator. Beep, beep. Player.
Right.
Good.
And brought him back to life. Right.
He took his goddamn rib out.
Right.
That's not what happened, man. The Most High took a rib from Adam. Let's see what that rib is. Take me to 2 Samuel 5:1.
I don't want to cut you off.
All right, the Praveen Somachikar. What ethnicity, what race is your father? What race is your father? All right, I heard from you before in the comments. What race is your father, Praveen? All right, we will tell you if we have a school. We don't have churches. All right, we're not Christians. We have schools.
Right.
All right, where we teach the truth. What race is your father? All right, type it in. Praveen, I'm talking to you. All right, read.
2 Samuel 5:1.
Come on, sir. So the Most High took a rib from Adam and enclosed the flesh thereof. Let's see what that means. Read on.
2 Samuel chapter 5 verse 1.
All right, read on.
Then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron, and spake, saying, behold, we are thy bone and thy flesh.
We are thy what?
Thy bone and thy flesh.
We are thy what?
Thy bone and thy flesh.
We are thy bone and thy flesh. Were they from were they literally from David's rib and
Right.
thrown in a petri dish?
Right.
No, they were from David's family.
Mm-hmm.
They were the tribes of Israel. They were from the same race or family as David was.
Right.
The rib that was from Adam was a woman of his race,
Right.
of his family. Which tells you what? The first recorded marriage ever was a marriage between a man and a woman of his race.
Right, and that also lets you know that this is, you should marry your own people. You know what I'm saying? This is not racial marriages. You know what I'm saying? This is something that Adam got a woman from his own people. What every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian man and women should be doing. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to be mingling with these other nations. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's thy bone and thy flesh. It's from your family, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep it in your family. You're not supposed to degrade the Most High God by going into another nation. That's not what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Now drop that. We are thy bone and thy flesh. They are of the same race. Now let's go back to Genesis, where it says the Lord took a rib of Adam.
Verse 22, and the verse 22, and the rib which the Most High God had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, "This is now the bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh."
This is the rib. This is a woman from his race, from his family.
Right.
All right, read.
She shall be called woman.
She shall be called what?
Woman.
She shall be called woman, my woman.
Right.
There's no word for wife in the Hebrew. The word for wife in Hebrew is a shah, which means woman. Right. Which is the same word as concubine. Right. The woman you have sex with is your woman.
Right. And that's what they need to. That's what these women outside need to realize. No matter how you cut it, you my woman. You know what I'm saying? That's like how Black people tell you my woman. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? There's no, when you break it down, you still gonna be called woman. Wife is woman, woman is woman. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
So that flesh, that woman, woman that Adam called woman,
right,
was a woman from his race.
Right.
All right. We're thy bone and thy flesh. Mm-hmm. That's what the children of Israel said to David. Why? Because they're from the same race or family as David. This woman was from the same race or family as Adam.
Right.
All right. Read on.
Because she was taken out of man.
She was what?
Taken out of man.
This is a woman. She is called woman because she's taken out of man. A woman is taken out of a man. First, your father is the man that's over you. Right. That's supposed to guide you. That's supposed to have a care over your body and awake early. That's an Ecclesiasticus. You understand? Then, when you're of age, of marriageable age, you understand, when you've ripened, when you're a woman, you understand, a grown woman, you're handed off to another man. Right. You understand? And that man is going to fulfill this similar duties in that he is going to watch over you and care for you. But that man is your husband. And that man is your man. Right. You get my point? First, you're with your father. Your father's to take care of you. You understand, as he does with his daughter, raise you, teach you how to take care of, your husband, cook, along with your mother, of course, teach you how to cook, clean, etc. You understand, your father's going to make sure you're not walking out of here committing sexual assault out here on these streets with your butt cheeks hanging out. You understand, half dressed and nudely clad, and then when you're of age, he's going to give you to a man. Right. And that's what that scripture means. When it says that she is taken out of man. All right, Adam took a woman from his race, took a rib, the Most High took a rib from Adam, right, a woman of his bone, of his flesh, of his family, and made her his woman. Right. All right, read on.
Because she was taken out of man, verse 24, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh.
Right, a man leaves his previous family, right, to start a new family, man. To start a new family. Mm-hmm. That woman that you're with, she is the start of your new family. Right. Like once you get married, once you have sex with a woman, that's your new family. It's not with your previous family, with your father and mother. Right. You now have made your new family. You understand? You've cleaved unto your wife. The family is now made. The mesh is formed when you lay down with your woman, with your wife, and you leave father and mother. Meaning what? You're no longer a part of their family in the sense that we know of it, today even.
Right.
You are a part of a family with this woman now. All right? And she's, of course, a part of your family. You've been made a new house, if you will. All right? Keep reading.
So-called black.
Verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were and the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. Keep going.
They were naked. They were both naked, and they weren't ashamed.
Right.
Meaning what? They weren't in the same mindset as everyone else.
Right.
They weren't committing the same acts as everyone else. They weren't getting high like everyone else.
Right.
They weren't having threesomes and going to the Christmas party, the New Year's party, and in Islam and banging their head on a carpet, and eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster and getting high like everyone else. And they weren't ashamed of it.
And what's so great? What's so great about it is it's saying that you was one flesh. No, meaning that y'all was both on the same accord. You know what I'm saying? You one flesh. So you doing the same thing that each other is doing. You know what I'm saying? You not one person is not following the Most High God's laws, and then the other person is eating shrimp, crab, and lobster, or being a hoe or a harlot. You know what I'm saying? They're both on the same path to serve the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? This scripture is powerful because we need to come back to being one flesh or one family. You know what I'm saying? Where the woman kicks the man out of the house. You know what I'm saying? Where that's not being one flesh. You know what I'm saying? Where the man treats his woman like a whore or harlot or prostitutes her. You know what I'm saying? That is not one flesh. One flesh is coming together as one and serving the Most High God and keeping His laws, statutes, and commandments, man. You know what I'm saying? Keep going. Whatever. Go on. Verse 3. And the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
Right. This is Genesis. Where are you at, sir?
This is Genesis chapter 3, verse 1.
Read.
And the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
The serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. The serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. Like do snakes talk?
Right.
We're going to get into the story, man. But this serpent was a man.
Right.
Like today. Oh, don't talk to Jimmy. He's a rat.
Right.
Does that mean Jimmy squeaks and likes cheese?
Right. Or he's a snake.
Right. He's
you know
a snake.
What I'm saying?
Does that mean he slithers and can bite you?
Right.
That means he slithers and can choke you? No. That means he's low down. He's dirty. He's in the dirt.
Right.
He's deceitful. When he's a rat, it means he's a liar. He's a snitch.
Which will also prove that this is a black man's book because we still use these same phrases to this day. You know what I'm saying? Snake, rat. You know what I'm saying? We compare people to animals like they're doing right now. The serpent of the garden was the subtle beast. You know what I'm saying? We will say that today like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Jimmy was a snake. You know what I'm saying? With the things he did, he's a snake. He's a rat. You know what I'm saying? This just proves that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians wrote this book, wrote the Torah. You know what I'm saying? The Tanakh. We wrote these records because we are a nation that speaks in slang, man. The white man tries to break down these words and scriptures and can't understand it. He comes to the point where he thinks we're talking about a fruit. You know what I'm saying? We bit into a fruit and learn all this knowledge, or there's a talking snake. You know what I'm saying? Which is just ridiculous, where there is no talking snakes anywhere on the earth. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
So this serpent was a man.
Right.
In the spirit of a serpent, of a snake, being deceitful and going low down. We're going to read and prove that this was a man that was low down and dirty, slithering like a snake, deceitful. You can hold that, sir, and get me on Revelations 12 and 9. A shark, you get us some water. Well, you can give me some water, sir, or brother. Revelation 12 and 9. All right, the serpent in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, is mentioned in Revelation.
Right.
We're going to prove it. Read.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out.
The great dragon was cast out. The great dragon was talking about the so-called white man, his governments. His governments and the amount of military might that they possess. With his F-35s able to rain down fire from the sky. That is absolutely ridiculous. All right, with the so-called white man's, especially the United States' air superiority that they have, and they've possessed, I believe, since the Korean War. All right.
Keep going.
Very well said. Praveen Somashikar, your father's father is are they Afro-Colombian or are they Singapore Indian? All right, are they your father's father, your grandfather, as far back as you can go in your father's line? You don't have to go do a goddamn ancestry DNA check.
Right.
Don't do that
genealogies. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Don't do endless genealogies. But on your father's side, your grandfather's side, were they Afro-Colombian or what? All right. I'm going to sum it up for you quickly since we're teaching the topic. Praveen Somashkar, if your your paternal line, going back as far as you can go back, is Afro-Colombian, you're the seed of Israel, man.
Right.
You're an Israelite, and you're not a Singapore Indian. You're of the tribe of Asher. If your father's Afro-Colombian, going back as far back as you can go. Right. All right. So just, you probably know who your grandfather is, where he came from. Your father's father, of course. Your mother does not determine what race you are. All right, but your father does. Your race is by the seed of your father, not what you look like, not how you talk, but what father you come from.
Right, and let me say something real quick. If you're not sure, if you don't know who your father is, you know what I'm saying? But you, in the spirit, you feel that the white man is the goddamn devil, and he's destroying your people, then my goddamn it, come into this school, man.
Yeah, man.
Your spirit is already telling you that the white man is the goddamn devil. You don't need to go that far back. And so if you don't know, you know what I'm saying? If she's damn near halfway to the great grandfather, and you know what I'm saying?
I think that's a man.
Man, and if you going back to your great grandfather, brother, you know what I'm saying?
Brother or sister,
yeah, and he's Afro, you know what I'm saying?
Afro-Colombian.
God damn it, you a brother, man.
Right.
You in the right goddamn place,
right.
brother.
You asked me the question.
You know what I'm saying? You don't, he or she, whatever the brother or sister is, you in the right goddamn place.
Am I Singapore?
Yeah, listen, you don't need to know that. If your spirit feels that the white man is the goddamn devil, you in the right place, brother or sister. Right. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry no more. Keep checking in the class, pay your tithes, and if you're a brother, become a trooper in the school and raise up a school where you at. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't worry about who your grandfather is. You in the right goddamn place, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Sister.
Yeah.
And if you're a sister, come in, get your Hebrew name, and serve the brothers that are laboring in Toronto.
Right.
All right. We're going to be in Toronto, Lord allow, this January to the whoever asked that Praveen.
Right.
We're going to be in Toronto. You come to class, and we'll see who you are.
Right.
Keep coming to class. Keep checking in. All right. I'm Officer Abun. I'm the camp and school leader of Canada.
Damn right.
So any questions about the Bible, you can hit me up on my Facebook, Praveen. All right. You can message I.S.U.P.K Canada. You know what I mean? We can talk a little bit more. I saw you he or she was on a comment board for another team.
Right.
About ancestry. I did a tape about ancestry DNA. She's like, he or she's like, my father, I'm Afro-Colombian in Singapore. Right. You know what I mean? But didn't had some of the knowledge, you know what I mean, Deuteronomy 28:68. Right. And was telling me about the Negroes that went into slavery in over in India. There are Israelites in India that were carried into slavery by the Arabs. A few groups, small pockets of them. Right. He's saying he may be from them, but I told him, okay, the Singapore Indians, and they're a little bit different. Right. People native to Singapore, I told them were Elamites. Right. Right. In that region. But the Israelites that were carried there, so-called Negroes that were carried there during the Arab slave trade, are Israelites, man. Regardless of what you look like, how you talk, that's not how your race is determined. Right. That's not how your race is determined. It's determined by the seed of your father, man. Mm-hmm. By the seed of your father. And that's what the scripture said. That's how the Most High looks at race. That's how he looks at race, man. All right. So that's it on that. Praveen, you know what I mean? Sign into the class. You message me on Facebook. I'm Abun. All right. Officer Abun. You can message me, find me on Facebook, send me your friend request. You know what I mean? If you don't use Facebook, that's fine. You can message, you can drop a message in the comment board, or, you know what I mean, you can email, you know what I mean, I.S.U.P.K Canada.
Right.
You know what I mean, I'll drop the email in there. Because if you want to say something about the Adam and Eve, the serpent,
the old serpent?
yeah,
Right.
Revelation 12 and 9.
Right, no sweat. Yeah, and what's so crazy about the old serpent, if you realize in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, it's talking about the dragon. You know what I'm saying? This old serpent had to grow into this dragon. You know what I'm saying? That's what's so heavy about this verse, because he started out as a small nation. You know what I'm saying? And through the years, he had developed into this dragon we know as today as the white man.
Like Canada.
Right.
They're small. They only had the eastern portion.
Right.
And they overtook the goddamn place and owned every polar bear and stitch of land there.
Right. And now he's a dragon blowing fire on every goddamn nation in this earth to get all riches and all elements, whatever he can, as this dragon. You know what I'm saying? That's why it says this old serpent, because it's reminding you of the old times of what he's done before. You know what I'm saying?
If you could finish the
Keep
verse.
going.
It was the old, it's like, just read the verse again. It's like,
No sweat. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, and the great dragon was cast out.
The great dragon was cast out, man. There's going to be a day when Canada's not ruling.
Right.
There's going to be a day when America is not ruling, man. And all their perversions, all their lusts, it'll be gone, man. All their drugs will be gone. All their murderous culture, their perverted culture, it'll be gone. All right? And the culture of the Israelites, so-called Afro-Colombians, so-called Ecuadorians,
right,
so-called Dominicans, so-called Haitians, our true culture will flourish. And our true culture is here in the scriptures.
Right.
All right? And that great dragon was cast out. Read on.
And called the devil.
Called the devil. That great dragon is called the devil, the liar, the deceiver on the planet Earth. Who lied and said Christ was a white man?
Right.
Christ white. The spooky ooky ghost.
Mm-hmm.
The gremlin. Did the gremlin paint Christ as a white man? Did the gremlin paint God and Adam and Eve on the top of the Sistine Chapel?
Who was that? Leonardo. Michelangelo, one of them, right?
Michelangelo, I think, painted the Sistine Chapel.
Right.
Leonardo da Vinci painted the image of Caesar Borgia as Christ.
Right.
Leonardo da Vinci was one of Caesar Borgia's homosexual lovers.
Right.
Caesar Borgia was a homosexual, murderous, incestuous rapist, man. That's that image of the man you think of as Christ. That's what that was. That's not Christ. That's Caesar Borgia. Mm-hmm. Christ is a black man with woolly hair, according to Revelation chapter 1 and verses 13 through 15. Mm-hmm. And the so-called white man painted Christ as a white man.
And you know what's so wicked about that? Your grandma thought Christ was white.
And died knowing it. That's crazy. That's
your
awful.
grandma's grandma thought Christ was white. You know what I'm saying? That's why it says he's the great dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil. Because he's the devil, because he's been lying to us forever. You know what I'm saying? He's been lying, telling us that the Most High God is white, Christ is white, the angels is babies that's white. You know what I'm saying? Naked at that. And it's great that you brought that up, because every time they paint like a David, you know what I'm saying? They got a Roman or a Greek statue of David where he's like naked.
It's also
you know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. That's how much of a devil this man is, because he paints everything naked.
Right. If I could, I dropped a little bit of French I know. You understand?
Right.
The chapel, what was it? A statue. The statue of David is legay.
Right.
It's super legay. All right. That's what it is. Oh, come on, Sean. I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of French, a little bit at a time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, Léon Blanc is le diable. Okay, the white man is the devil. That's French.
Damn right.
All right, French, Spanish, whatever language. We're going to say it, man. We're going to say it so brothers and sisters can come to the knowledge of the truth. All right. So he's the old serpent, the man that's called the devil, the man that painted Christ as a white man, painted the Most High and Adam and Eve as white, naked with the apple. You understand? In the Sistine Chapel, he's called the devil. You know what else he's called? He's called the old serpent.
Right.
The serpent in the Garden of Eden was a man with the same spirit as the man that came in Christ as a white man. And that's the so-called white man. The serpent in the Garden of Eden was a man with the same spirit as the white man, a deceiver, a liar.
Right.
All right. Can you finish that verse, sir?
And Satan, which deceived the whole world. You go.
And Satan, which deceived the whole world.
Right.
The white man is Satan. His God is Satan, man.
Right.
He takes his orders from Satan.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that? The Most High said, when a man lies with a man as he lies with a woman, it's an abomination.
Right.
Justin Trudeau said it's an alternative lifestyle.
Right.
Justin Trudeau is in a parade with a disgusting human being.
Right.
According to the Most High. Justin Trudeau said it's okay, said it's lawful. Justin Trudeau in the Canadian Parliament said it was lawful to use marijuana recreationally. When God said, "Know ye not that you're the temple of the Most High?"
Right.
Would you burn up the temple of the Most High? Hell no. So why would you go burn your body up with smoke, man?
Right.
Put puffing that smoke in your body, and also it's the worship of another god. Everything that's against the Most High, the white man pushes because he's in the spirit of Satan.
Right.
He's the devil. He's the deceiver and the accuser, just like Satan is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But Satan himself is working for the Most High, and the so-called white man is doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be the vessel unto dishonor.
Right.
All right. The old serpent is called the devil.
Mm-hmm.
The serpent in the Garden of Eden was a man with the spirit of the white man. Read if you take me back to Genesis 3:1, sir.
Right. And while I'm getting at, like, the scripture also says he deceives the whole world. What nation you know is deceiving the whole world? The whole world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even like history. You don't even have to go all the way back in history. You could go a few years. You know what I'm saying? You could even go back to the Native Indians where he didn't even abide by the promises he gave them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can go further back where he just deceived everybody and just put Christianity through the whole world. You know what I'm saying? What was it? 3 and
Genesis 3:1, right?
Genesis chapter 3, verse 1. And now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
The serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. The beasts of the field are the other nations.
Right.
That's in Ezekiel 34 and was it 34 and 8? If you could, sir, can you hold that and get that one verse for me real quick? Come on. I'm proving now the beasts of the field are the other nations. Brothers and sisters, if you heard this breakdown before, you know what I mean, hear it again. You understand? The scriptures say, I meditate upon thy law. That's what David said.
Right.
All right. I'm going to go over this topic again and again and again. All right. Get Ezekiel 34 and 8.
I got it. Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 8.
Go ahead.
As I live, said the Most High God, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field.
My flock became a prey. Who is the flock of the Most High? The flock of the Most High is the so-called Afro-Colombians.
Right.
The so-called Venezuelans. The so-called Colombians. The so-called Negroes. All right. The so-called West Indians. The Israelites. They're the flock of the Most High. And they became a prey. We've been eaten up by the Arabs, by the Chinese. We've been eaten up in Jamaica by the East Indians, man. Eaten up by them.
Mm-hmm.
You've been destroyed by the Chinese, man, selling bullets in convenience stores in Philadelphia, selling bullets and selling ammunition, man,
right,
selling cocaine out of these Arab spots, crack out of these Arab spots out here in New York City, and probably selling all kinds of drugs out of the Arab spots in Toronto,
right,
doing all kinds of evil, eating us up, eating us alive, man. Mm-hmm. They're the beasts of the field. Other nations.
And you know what I'm saying? And what's so crazy is we don't even acknowledge that we're the beasts of the field. We want to go out there and be with other nations. Like we went over 2 weeks ago about being like multiculturalism. You know what I'm saying? We want to mix in with these other nations. While they're like wolves eating us up, we want to be a wolf when we're a sheep. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to be with sheeps, man, not with wolves. But you know what I'm saying? We wanna be be with the beast that's destroying us. We think their cultures, we think their lifestyle is a blessing when it is destroying us day by day. Let the heathens be prostitutes. You know what I'm saying? Drug dealers. Let us be holy above all nations. You know what I'm saying? Let us be separate from and come back to the Most High God. You know what I'm saying? In this Bible that it teaches.
That's right. Keep reading. And if I could, his flock, the Most High's flock, are the Israelites. What are the Israelites called?
Right.
The lost sheep.
Right.
We're sheep, man. We're sheep, and the other nations are beasts of the field, and we're their prey. We're their prey because we're separated, thinking we're mixed. Thinking we're mixed because our hair's a little straight,
right? A
little thin. Mm-hmm. It's not nappy, so you're not black.
Right.
You're thinking you're biracial, which is stupid. You get eaten up by everybody, eaten up by the other races, thinking you're somebody that you're not, man.
Right, and at the end of the day, you still get hemmed up on that car and have a police officer calling you a nigga at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But and you thinking that you a white. I'm white. I'm not a nigga. Where the white man said, nah, you a nigga, and hand you right up on the car. Talking about, I know when I see one, or when you are a Hispanic trying to be a white man. When he said, no, I know a spick when I see one, and hems you up right on the car. Same thing for my Native Indian brothers. When we try to escape who we are, and at the end of the day, the white man know his people. You know what I'm saying? The white man know what a devil is, and he knows you're not a devil. He knows that you're the children of the Most High God, man, and that is why it is beating you across your head, why he's hemming you up on the car when you are doing absolutely nothing that is against the law. But you know why? Because he's the old serpent, you know what I'm saying, that the devils, you know what I'm saying, of old times. He knows who you are, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian. You know what I'm saying? You want me to keep going?
Finish the verse, sir.
As I live in the Most High God, surely because of my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock.
Right, neither did my shepherds search for my flock. Like these Christian pastors are letting their people in Toronto think they're half of this, quarter that, part of this, okay? Which is what Adam and Eve did. They took on the cultures of the other nations. They became Assyrians. They became Americans. They became mixed. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm mixed. I'm part.
Right.
Which is American culture, which is Canadian culture. Mm-hmm. All right.
And so like 1 second, what you said was so heavy about the Let me read it one more time. And because there was no shepherds, neither did my shepherds search for my flock. You know what I'm saying? What you said about the Christian pastors is so heavy. They promote God loves everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody could come in, but they're not promoting for the flock. They're promoting for these beasts to come in. You know what I'm saying? The beasts to come in to destroy the flock of the Most High God, the lost sheep of the house of Israel that they're promoting. You know why? You know why? Because in the next verse, it tells you why. But the shepherds feed themselves and feed not my flock. They're feeding themselves, man. These Christian pastors and a Roman Catholic Church, they're enjoying themselves, man. They're feeding themselves. You know what I'm saying about that? They're not worrying about what's going on what's going on outside. They're worrying about what their next meal is gonna be, what their next Benz is gonna be. You know what I'm saying? All those tithes that you're paying, what they're gonna do with those that tithe money that you're giving in. 10%, damn 10%, the 30% that they want, the triple tithe that they want you to get. When you pay those triple tithes, they want to see what they're gonna do with the deacon, their wives, and the prostitute that he's buying on the side. They only care, they feed themselves, man. They're not worrying about the flock. They're not worrying about the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that's suffering out there because of the devil, the old serpent. He's not worrying about what's going on out there. He's not worried about the brother that's struggling on crack, or the sister that needs help with 7 children. God damn, man, the Christian church be bringing in like billions of dollars and can't help a sister out, can't help a brother out. You know what I'm saying? Don't be fooled by by them helping out a small flock of sheep. You know what I'm saying? They'll have these small drives, or they'll help a brother or sister out, but they're bringing in billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Yearly, and what they're buying Bentleys, Lamborghinis, whores, houses, not even living in the houses, buying prostitutes, sharing the money to their deacons and bishops or whatnot, and just letting you die on the street, man. Where you need to come back to this Most High God as one flesh, like we were in the beginning, man. Keep going, you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
That's it on that, sir. Go back to Genesis 3:1. So the so-called white man is the beast of the field. The beasts of the field are the other nations, and they eat us up. We're the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right.
All right, read on.
Genesis chapter 3, verse, let me go to 2. And I'm sorry, I'll read it. And he said unto the woman, had God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. Verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is not midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Right. Eve knew this. How did Eve know this? How did Eve know this? Because Adam was teaching her.
Right.
Because Adam was teaching. That's how you know he was teaching her. And he fell into a deep sleep. He wasn't aware of what he was doing.
Right.
Then they had sex, and then he knew it. Mm-hmm. He knew she was his once he had sex, not once he walked into an altar and you may now kiss the bride.
Right. And one other thing, he didn't just have sex with this woman and left. And just continue to just name animals and think the Most High God, like the water for this woman, this piece of meat that I got, and just kept naming animals. He took this precious woman and said, this is the bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, and we are one now. You know what I'm saying? He didn't just do what these Christian pastors did, or these pimps on the street did. He took this precious woman, your sister, your black woman, your Hispanic woman, your Native Indian woman, and treat her like he was like she was him, man. That one flesh that the Most High God told him to do, man, and that is righteous, man.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You keep going.
If you could read it again, sir.
Let me go back to verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it.
Right. He was taught that. He was taught by her husband.
Right.
By a man over her.
Right.
Understand? And she knew that she wasn't supposed to take into the cultures of the other nations.
Right.
Other nations. Let's see what the serpent, the white man, did. Read on.
Neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
See what? He said, ye shall not surely die.
Right.
Woman has the right to choose.
Right.
You want to do with what your body what
right.
You want.
Your body's
it's
yours.
Your choice.
Right. It's your choice.
It's your choice.
You know what I'm saying?
I want to tell a story. There's a lot here. I should tell it.
Go.
Okay. All right. So I was texting your sister, right? Right, my school. She and I asked her, of course, what we do in the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
I asked her if she was single. She said yes. That wasn't the end of it.
Right.
You understand? The interrogation had only begun.
Right.
Officer
The Terminator came out. Right.
Right. John Connor come out. So I'm scrutinizing her. Right. Are you physically intimate with anyone?
Right.
And then she said, I'm physically intimate with a lot of people.
Right.
She said, I experiment.
Right.
I'm very, what'd she say? I'm very physical, free with my body, something like that.
Wow.
And then she said, I'm exploring.
Mm-hmm.
My response was, I'm not Christopher Columbus. I'm not into exploring.
Right.
I meditated on it.
Right.
Meditated upon terror.
Right. Goddamn right.
I meditated upon terror.
Right.
I said, what am I going to say to Connor?
Right.
This is the only text I'm sending. I'm not going to respond to her again.
Right.
So I sent a text. I'm not Christopher Columbus. I'm not into exploring. All right. I don't deal with women that deal with many men.
Right.
She said, She said, she said, well, do you?
Right.
And then she said, it's my body, I choose. It's like the text got progressively worse.
Right. She wasn't responding.
Right. And she said, it's my, okay, you do you.
Right.
It's my body, my choice. She said, I may be a whore, but you be missing out on a one-of-a-kind person.
God damn, man. God damn, man.
And then, of course, I'm not responding. And then the last text was, have a good life.
Right. This sister just admitted that she was a goddamn whore, man. Like,
well, that's awesome.
I'm a whore, and you have a good day, because I'm going to continue being a whore, man. God damn, we're destroyed, man.
Basically, not what the serpent did, man. The serpent went and deceived Eve, man. Like when the so-called white man teaches in his schools, the philosophies that he teaches, man, are so destructive.
Right.
I'm laughing about it because of the story, man. But that sister's living a sad life.
Right.
Living a sad life, lonely, eating tubs of ice cream, watching Netflix, only having all manner of men come over, you understand, and go ahead and run the Amtrak,
Right.
and take the 2 train, you know what I mean, and then go ahead and leave her, man. And that's the cultures of the tree. That's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Right.
That's the cultures of the heathen round about. That's what the serpent wanted Eve to do. Go against your husband,
Right.
which your father told you. Her fathers are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right.
And they didn't tell her to be a damn whore in some goddamn college, man. They didn't tell Black and Latino and Native American Indian women, so-called, to be whores in these colleges in Montreal and in Toronto, man. That's from the culture of the serpent. And he is the most subtle beast.
Right.
You can do what you want with your body.
Right.
And that's creating a miserable damn life, a disease.
Right.
You're worried about catching AIDS, diseases, and sad as crying yourself to sleep.
Right.
They act like being a whore is, well, I'm doing what I want, walking up and down the street like they're proud. Those girls cry themselves to sleep.
Right. And that is the evil that the Most High God didn't want us to find out. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want us to find out those terrors that our sisters go through every day. Those terrors that our brothers go through every day by the police officers. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want us to find out the evil that comes with this fruit, that once we learn it, these other cultures, he wanted us to stay on the other side, just to know the good of the Most High God, like any father would want for his children, is to only know the good. He doesn't want his children to know the consequences of knowing the evil, man. You know what I'm saying? And what's so sad about this, that Eve got the instructions from her husband, you know what I'm saying, Adam, that when you one flesh, like the Most High God said, you know what I'm saying, you won't die. But you know, the serpent came to her and was like, if you just dabble into other nations, dabble into other knowledges, experiment, like the woman said, right? Experiment, be a whore. If you won't be a whore, surely you won't die if you be a whore. You know what I'm saying? Surely if you kill your baby, your daughters, your unborn sons and children, surely you won't die. When the goddamn serpent was a goddamn devil, liar. You know what I'm saying? Leading you into the dust that you came from. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes the beginning of Genesis so powerful, because it showed us when we, men and women, when Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian, men and women were together as one flesh, one bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, when we were good. When we were one nation of people loving each other, only knowing what good is. But until the white man, like he does today, an old serpent, the devil, comes in and tells our women that you're the goddess. You're the goddess, you're a god. You know what I'm saying? If you just dabble into feminism, you won't die. You know what I'm saying? Surely if you dabble in twerking and prostituting and stripping, surely you won't die. When we are dying in the street daily, when we are the highest in AIDS and we're the smallest of nation, you know what I'm saying? That surely we are dying. You know what I'm saying?
That's this.
What you got in mind?
So this sums up this doesn't sum it up.
Right.
Let me get verse 6.
Verse 6?
We gotta get it for time.
No sweat. Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. And when the women saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat.
She took of the fruit thereof. She took of that knowledge.
Mhm.
She found out what it was like to serve other gods, to be white,
Right,
to be Canadian,
right,
to experiment,
right,
to choose with her body what she wants to.
right.
Not necessarily saying that Eve did this, but this is the same. This same game that the white man gains up so-called Black and Latino Native American Indian women with. He's been doing it since the garden.
Right.
Since the Garden of Eden, he's been running this game. And Eve, like so many sisters today, take of that fruit.
Right. Still do, right.
You could read on, sir?
God.
Ready?
And did eat, and gave unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
He ate too. Adam fell weak under his woman,
Right.
which is what we cannot do. Brothers and sisters, brothers, so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indians, we cannot be weak under our woman. Man.
Right.
Now,
Don't ever be weak under your woman. You're a man, man. You're the pillar. She's your helpmeet.
Right.
She's the pillar of rest. You're that pillar of strength. And you're that pillar of consistency. So-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indian. A woman needs help making decisions, you know what I mean, for herself. That's why you're over her. That's why you tell her what to do. That's why you check her when she's getting out of line. That's why you tell her, babe, it's, you know, honey, whatever you call your woman, is going to be all right. Don't worry about that. Why are you worrying about that? Why are you getting so upset over that?
Right.
Don't do that. Or you did a good job. I need this done. I need that done. Women need to be told what to do.
Right.
By a man. That's how it was supposed to be. Why? Because when the man was not around, when the woman had a decision, when she was given the task of choosing, she chose the wrong decision.
Right.
She made the wrong move.
But in the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? As the scripture said, you know, the woman brung down the man. You know what I'm saying? You know why she brung down the man? Because the man, as in one flesh, trusted you to follow the Lord's statutes and commandments like he taught you. You know what I'm saying? But you rather listen to the old serpent. You rather listen to the white man that says you're God, that says that your body belongs to you, and the baby that's in your that womb is not a baby yet until, you know, it's like 2 or 3 months when in reality the embryo starts beating in like 2 days, not 2 days, like 12 days, you know what I'm saying? A week from being conceived into that egg, you know what I'm saying? But the white man would tell you that, listen, man, it's not a baby until it's like 3-4 months. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't even know what it is now. Now it's probably worse than that, you know what I'm saying? But what we need to come back together is realize that the man and woman need to come back together as one flesh under the Most High God, man. You know what I'm saying? In Christ. We need to learn we need to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, because this is our life. This is our bread. This is our water. This is what we need. This is our meat. This is what we need to come back to like how we were in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? To be one flesh, be on one accord, like we need to be. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Whatever.
That's basically it on that.
Right.
We're gonna get more on the story later on. All right, but for time's sake, Adam ate of the fruit, fell weak under his womb, which he should not have.
Right.
Adam was not deceived, but Eve being deceived was in the transgression.
Right.
Eve was in the transgression, and Adam, Eve was in the transgression. Adam brought death into the world. Eve brought death into the world.
Right.
Am I correct? By one, Adam did also. Going to the book of Romans, I believe it's the 15th chapter.
Right.
If by one man death was brought into the world, and by one man life was brought into it. Adam brought that death into the world by obeying his woman. But Yahushua, when he was Jesus Christ, brought life into the world back for the people that agreement was given to.
Right.
Like that covenant, that agreement of owning the most fertile land in planet Earth, the so-called Middle East, was given to the Israelites. That land was given to the people of Adam. The covenant was given to the Israelites. All right, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, we were given that covenant, that agreement. We need to come back to the agreement that we made by keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments. Adam and Eve made a terrible mistake. But today, we have the opportunity to straighten that out. One man at a time by doing what? By changing the man in the mirror. Isn't that what Michael Jackson said? I'm changing the man in the mirror. There was some truth in that. You have to look at ourselves in the mirror and change ourselves and change our behavior. Stop getting high and smoking cigarettes. Stop eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster, going to strip clubs. Being a murderer, being a sodomite, a pervert. In Canada. Stop smoking the white man's recreational weed. All right? Come back into the truth. Montreal. Give Montreal a hand. You know, Montreal, Quebec. Montreal, Quebec, the brothers and sisters there have been patient. They have waited, and the I.S.U.P.K. under the Most High, when you know as Christ, the commanding General YAHANNA, we have answered. Right. We've answered the call. And Montreal, Quebec, we're going to have classes live Saturday, November 24th. All right. I've texted the brothers and sisters the address. Once the address is confirmed, I'll send it and make it public to the brothers and sisters worldwide and in Canada. There will be class in Montreal, Quebec, Saturday, November 24th, from noon to 2 p.m. We're finalizing the location for the class. All right. We're basically done with that. We just have to pay the fee. All right. And there is likely going to be a debate after that. We're going to have a debate in Montreal. All right. For a few hours. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and head back to the States. All right. Montreal. We're going to be in Montreal, Quebec, Saturday, November 24th. All right. Class in Montreal, Quebec, from noon to 2 p.m. Where I'll be able to analyze and examine every brother and sister in Montreal to see if it's salvageable, if brothers and sisters have been keeping the faith. Right. And keeping this baptism, this teaching that is here in the I.S.U.P.K, that is the teaching of the Most High power. Right. All right. He's passed down unto men to give to you freely.
All right. Let me say something. If you feel, you know what I'm saying, that you think Canada, we ain't in Canada quick enough, then God damn it, come into this goddamn classes. You know what I'm saying? Let these men, these troopers come into these classes, raise up, be officers, and raise up Canada, man. If you feel it's not enough classes, it's not enough, you know what I'm saying, camps, the water. It's not enough camp speakings in Canada. Well, God damn it, man, what's taking you so long? You know what I'm saying? This Harlem, for example, this Harlem school didn't come in one day. We had to build this up, man. You don't know how much sweat and tears and blood went into this school that we have now in Harlem. You know why? Because men of the Lord came together. We came out the world, seen it on these online classes, seen Captain Tazaria, Captain Katazar, Commander General YAHANNA, Jeremiah Hyman, Jeremiah, and so on and so on. We saw that, and we knew that people needed this word, needed priests of the Most High God to come together. You know what I'm saying? To bring the people this word, man. So don't be ashamed of yourself. The Bible says, "Let your light shine, Canada. Let your light shine. Come into this word and let your light shine." You know what I'm saying? Let Canada know that the I.S.U.P.K is there, and let them know that the white man is the devil everywhere. Canada, America, South America, Egypt, wherever the so-called white man has his feet at, let them know that he's the goddamn devil, the old serpent that is the devil of the Bible, man. You know what I'm saying?
So we have classes in Montreal, class Saturday, November 24th,
right,
from noon to 2 p.m. in Montreal. We're finalizing the location. Once it's finalized, we'll share it publicly. All right. If you have questions, text the number I posted there. All right. Email us with questions. Where is the class going to be at? And in the future, we'll be able to let you know that information. I'm Officer of 1,000. So to my left is Officer of 5,000 Karab. Right. Yeah, I greatly appreciate his help, his work here in this class. All right. I'm Officer of 1,000 Abun, the camp and school leader of Canada. Any questions, you can text. So I can text or call my number, or you can email isupkcanada@gmail.com. Right. That being said, shalom.
Shalom.